Faith 180. You take your faith and you turn it around. Faith 180. Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to Faith 180, the podcast where mental health and faith collide. I am one of your hosts, Tom Hazelton, and joining me, as always, through the crazy, wacky invention known as the internet, Mr. Jordan Hamilton.
Here I am on the interwebs. I'd like to address all of our fans, any cool cats out there, anyone who thinks that we're cool fellas. That's who I want to talk to today. So hello, fans, cool cats, and persons who think we're cool fellas.
Well, all I'm saying is maybe we should just start referring to our fans as the Cool Kids Club.
The Cool Cats Club.
The Cool Cats Club. Join the Cool Cats Club by following, subscribing. That's how we should end our episodes.
Yes. That's the only way.
That is the only way. Well, we just want to thank everybody for continuing to listen. The views keep going up week over week, which is still wild to me that people want to listen. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm probably going to snuff in the microphone because I am sick again. But yeah, we've got
unacceptable,
some really...
but we'll let it go for this one, I guess.
I appreciate that. So the last episode that we uploaded was the Lindsay episode, and right out the gate, that is getting some pretty strong numbers. The feedback from it has been pretty positive so far. If you've listened to it, thank you very much. If you haven't, you still have time to go back.
Yeah, that's right. I had a lot of fun listening to that story in real time when we recorded it. And I thought what came of it in the end was phenomenal. If you haven't listened to that one, I know some people, I talk to them and I find out that they're just a few episodes behind, or they started one and they're not to a certain part yet. So I'm not going to give any spoilers because I think maybe we have before. I don't know. All that to say, it was a really good episode, and if you've got some time, go check it out. There's a house fire and there's a bank robbery, and that's all I'm going to say for now. That should spark your interest.
Yeah, that would definitely spark my interest if I hadn't been there to record it and then to listen to it while editing it. But yeah, no, it is. There is. It's a pretty wild story.
I guess you would have had to make it to this one and skipped that one. So if you've made it this far and you haven't listened to Lindsay's Faith 180, go back. And if you have listened to it, share it, leave a comment, and we're glad you're listening.
We've got a fun one here today, guys. We're going to start off with the Mental Minute. We know everybody loves that segment.
That is the undisputed heavyweight segment of the year. Voted best segment on the show 2 years running. By
you.
That is correct.
And then after the Mental Minute, we're going to go to It's Bible Time, where we're going to quickly chat about, a verse in the Bible. We're going to explore its contextual significance to the time period and how we can possibly apply it to today.
Yeah, and Bible Time is going to be a bit different today. I'm kind of looking forward to it. So Tom and I are both working on an assignment currently for a class we're taking. And we're going to talk about what it is, what we're doing it on, and it has to do with some biblical text. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about that one.
And for the final segment, you have written here a Mad Lib moment, and this has my curiosity piqued, I'm not going to lie.
I think it'll be fun if we do some Mad Libs. So that's when I'll ask you for a word or like a noun or action words or something like that, and it's going to be for a biblical story, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, so you won't have any context. You'll just have to say words, and then I'm going to read it back and see what it sounds like, see if it sounds similar to what's in the scriptures.
I'm all in.
I know you are. You didn't have a choice in the matter.
You're the one who put together this week's sheet.
I'm the segment guy.
You are the segment guy.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
So I think it's time we started off there, Jordan.
We're going to start it off right again. And we did this the last time, and we're going to do it again this time. So, Tom, roll the intro.
This is the Mental Minute.
The Mental Minute, again, the best segment of this podcast, 2 years running,
2 years
as
running
voted by Jordan.
by me,
This is
the
this is just
listener and the speaker.
this is just a quick segment where we check in on each other's mental state just to see how we are getting on. So, Jordan, how you getting on?
I'm going to turn it over to you right away because mine's a little bit longer. Got a little bit of a story to tell.
Oh,
So, how's your mental health, Tom? How you been, buddy?
Jordan has a story. I'll put it to you that way. My mental health has been pretty decent. Just getting a little frustrated at the fact that I am sick again. This is the second sickness in the second weekend in a row. Yeah, it's getting a little tiring. Just popping Advil, cold and sinuses, and Sudafeds. But in terms of everything else is going great, man. We had some family over this evening, and it's been a long time coming. This is a part of the family that there's been some hurt feelings and whatnot in the past before, but we're past all that, and we're just treading a new relationship forward. And it's been great. This year has been awesome for just building relationships that were put on the back burner for far too long. And yeah, it's been awesome.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Tom. And I want to say that, you know, in seasons like this where the weather's not particularly great, it's getting colder, I find it's important to focus on little wins. So
Mm.
focus on the little wins and keeping a positive mindset is definitely better than rolling around with a negative one. So good on you with the family business there.
Oh, it's been amazing. Like I said, it's just a lot of miscommunications. I don't even know if that's the best way to put it. And just getting past just the things that were said and the things that were done, and just it doesn't matter anymore. We only have the one life and we only have the one family. And
Yeah,
if
I think
fences can be mended, do it.
I think that's been a consistent message to forgive Christ as Christ has forgiven us. I
Yep,
think is
exactly.
the quite simply put. He shows grace and mercy, and I think we need to do the same. And I think it's easy to dwell on the past. I certainly spent a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time dwelling on the past and never actually living in the present. So,
Yep.
um,
But
grace and mercy.
I love these people, man. I just love them to death, and that's the only thing I can say. And I'm very thankful that we are at this spot, and just just making new memories, man.
Well, unfortunately, the memories I made this week were not necessarily good. Um, Mental health is good actually. On that front, although physical health is okay as well. I went in for a routine tooth removal, one of my wisdom teeth. So I only have three. One of them doesn't exist, and one of them is never coming in. So the two on the left side of my face have existed for several years now. They're just very difficult to reach and become annoying. And so it was decided to uh, extract one of them that had become a major problem. And unfortunately, after being frozen Monday locally here, was discovered that the X-ray might have been hiding some details about the tooth's anatomy. So I was sent for emergency surgery in a town 2 hours away, and was sedated and had my face messed with for 28 minutes to be exact. From when the doctor came in the room, I was sedated and then he left. So I was certainly impressed with the business operation side of things there. And he did a great job from what I can tell. It's just not an ideal. as our listeners know, I do lead worship, and that's happening tomorrow morning. So by the time you hear this, though, we'll be gone beyond that. So here's to things looking up. Tylenol and Advil have been my friend for the last few days, but I'm a guy that doesn't like the dentist at all. Like I don't necessarily dislike the people. I just dislike the uh, concept, I guess, or the establishment of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the dentist either. And I am really sorry that you're going through this. I mean, this mouth
Hey, I'm
trauma.
good now. The crappy part about all of it was when I sat in the chair Monday, I was given the option to just go to the surgeon from the start and have it dealt with, but instead I had this is a part I didn't say, but I had half of a tooth ripped out from that first procedure, so I was like triple frozen so that I wouldn't feel pain until the next day when I got the surgery. It wasn't the same day, so um, it's done though. I
You've
feel
been you've been
I'm
giving me updates the whole time too, which was awesome.
yeah, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it was just to get two wisdom teeth pulled. So, um, I just don't like the dentist. I don't. I know a lot of people don't, and I think anytime you get anything like that, it's just going to be uncomfortable, and that's what it's been. And I'll survive, and we're going to have a great Sunday tomorrow. So,
What I find weird is the fact that there are so many people who don't like the dentist. What is it about the dentist that we don't like? I don't like the dentist. I avoid the dentist.
yeah, and it's like I was saying to somebody tonight. It's not even like a dentist is not very invasive in terms of the majority of your anatomy. They're
Hmm.
very specific to your mouth, and like what in your mouth could really. I just think it's the whole you sit down and they start pricking at your teeth with those little sharp, pointy things, and that doesn't feel good. And then they floss, and that doesn't feel good. And you've got somebody's hand in your mouth for like an hour. So, yeah, I think there's enough things there to be like, yeah, a lot of people probably don't enjoy that.
And I mean, teeth are pretty important. I mean, they help you chew. They help you just uh,
Let's go into the this needs to make the edit. So let's go into the things that teeth can do.
so
Welcome
I'm
to the
very
things teeth can do segment with Tom. Tom,
well,
tell
like I
us
said,
things that our teeth can do.
well, our teeth can chew, they can tear. I mean, when I talk, my tongue goes against my teeth to make me enunciate better. And it's something that's very important. And I'm very self conscious about my teeth, but yet I don't do anything to help them.
Oh
I
man,
hate the dentist. I avoid it.
how did we get here?
I don't know. I think it has to do with the whole body mutilation aspect. You know what I mean? Because those are bones. Those are like the only
Yeah,
exposed bones in your body.
and full disclosure, I felt the whole thing crack off. Like I
Yeah.
didn't, I was frozen, but I heard it, and I was just kind of. And it's funny because one of the youth at the church was doing her co-op with my dentist, and I mean I don't know them personally, but I lead worship, so I see most everybody in the congregation, and I asked her the following day at the trunk or treat event after I'd had two removed, like what was that experience like? I honestly I didn't want to know, so I didn't get details, but it
So yeah,
just oh man, I could yeah. I don't want to
you
talk about
do
it because a lot of people get woozy from tennis stuff. I know,
you
but
do realize after we're done recording, I'm going to go down a deep dive onto why people hate the dentist.
yeah, no, do it. Let's talk about it on the next one. Bring
The
some
follow up.
statistics, but
I will.
we certainly need to get out of the what can teeth do segment. So where are we going next?
I believe we are going to. It's Bible time.
It's Bible time.
I rolled the title. I said I believe we're going to, and then I'm going to go to It's Bible Time.
So the title's been rolled.
The title has been rolled.
We've heard the it's Bible time.
We have. So in It's Bible Time, we are going to take a verse of the Bible and we are going to read it and explore its contextual, what it meant to the people when it was written, and maybe how we can apply it today. But what Jordan had mentioned earlier is we have each taken a Bible verse and we had to observe, interpret, and apply to that Bible verse. And we're going to hand it in for a project, for a course we're taking. So with that said, Jordan, would you like me to go first, or would you like to go first?
Given what I know about yours, I'll go first, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Yours is, I mean, I was shocked to read what I read when you told me about yours. So I'm doing mine. Yeah. So we're doing a paper, observe, interpret, apply. And I picked a passage that I don't think a lot of people would have picked. Do you know what I picked?
I have no idea.
So I initially was going to go Genesis 21, which is, or 21 or 22. It's when Abraham sacrifices Isaac.
Oh, okay.
Son.
Right on.
Yeah. I was going to go there. That passage of scriptures always interested me. There's something about the abruptness of how quickly and willing Abraham was to just, go, follow, have faith.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, God knew he had faith. He told him that essentially. But at the same time, God said, prove it. And I've just always found that passage interesting. That being said, Tom, I did stay in the Old Testament, but I went to Genesis 6, verses 1 to 8, and I'm going to bring up the ESV. You're probably going to go like, what? So this is the English Standard Version, and just the kind of heading for these 8 verses broken down in the ESV. It's titled Increasing Corruption on Earth. So chapter 6, verse 1, when man began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came to the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. Verse 5, the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out man, whom I have created from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So I'll just kind of be brief about what I'm looking at. Essentially, I'll kind of talk about my observations of it, just really briefly. I'm not going to go into great detail because when you start asking questions, it leads to a million other questions. But essentially, the world was in havoc during those days. And, we hear the word the Nephilim. Those were actually giants that roamed the earth. They were extremely large beings, and they were on the earth in those days. So, I mean, just right off the bat, that's interesting. The Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. I started asking myself, like, why 120 years? What's that mean? You read that the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. And I'm just like drawing comparisons to the day, and it's like really creepy. Because the state of the world right now, I don't want to get political or comment on that, but I definitely think there were better times in my existence. There's certainly wickedness and evil in the world today, but then the part that I'm stuck on is verse 8, and I don't know why it's sectioned in with those other seven verses because it's just a far departure from what we're reading, and it's but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord, and one of the ways I've observed this, and I'm currently interpreting it still, is favor can be viewed as acceptance.
Mm.
This is 6 chapters into the Bible, and we're reading that Noah's acceptance is in Christ, our Savior. And that just has stuck with me so far because I know we've talked about worldly acceptance a lot and social
Yep.
media presence and, portraying yourself one way or trying to be perceived one way online or just, any of that stuff that's impacting people negatively. We're 6 chapters into the Bible, and for
And
some
it's already
reason,
come up.
yeah, through like all this doom and gloom, like the Lord saw that wickedness of man was great. Every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil. And then another part here that like really strikes a chord, and I'll just kind of wrap this up quickly is, and the Lord regretted that he had made man on earth,
Mm.
and it grieved him to his heart. And one of the observations for his heart is inner man, like not so much his physical heart, but just deep down to the core. He regretted that he had made man on earth.
That's kind of like an emotional gut punch. You know what I mean? Like,
And then verse 7, I will blot out man. And at the end of verse 7, for I am sorry that I have made them. But
yeah,
Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. And we know, obviously, contextually, what happens with Noah. He builds the ark, and the flood happens. One of the questions that kind of I had about that, and it's less of a serious question than anything, but like, wouldn't Noah like call his good buddy up and be like, "Hey man, like you got to get on this ark."
it's gonna flood.
I just don't like currently I don't understand why it was just his family, I guess. Like wouldn't somebody close to him trust him enough to be on that boat with him? I guess is my question. You
Yeah,
know
and
what?
that's
If you got the answer, write in to us because that, you know, we're not against learning something. So
yeah, and we always want to learn something because I know if I was entrusted with, oh hey, the world's gonna flood and you need to build a boat, pretty sure I would tell somebody.
right,
But
which raised the question, and a friend of mine raised this question, is like, isn't that what we're supposed to be doing now? Like, the world needs saving. Aren't we supposed to be disciples? And that was a gut punch. I was like, yeah, probably. Yep, you're probably right.
probably,
You're probably right.
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's a
So
wild verse to choose, man. And it
I
packs a lot, especially the fact that you said it's only six verses into the Bible.
6 chapters in.
Six
It's
chapters, sorry,
chapter
into the
six,
Bible.
verses 1 to 8. So it's eight verses. It's a lot to take in. You think it like I wanted to break it down into like, okay, here's one section. Section 1 is verses 1 to 7. And then section 2 is verses 8. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. And obviously when you read the Bible, you can't read it as it's broken down. You have to just read it continually, essentially.
Exactly.
So these breaks or these titles have been given. They weren't necessarily there when it was written.
Right.
So it's hard to even really consider the break, but I just find it interesting that even in multiple translations, that's the case. They leave that verse, and I think that verse is predominantly just a like a beacon of hope, essentially, given the times that
Yeah.
God had just said, "I will blot out man, who I have created from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens. For I am sorry that I've made them." It's like that is so dark, that imagery, And then you just have Noah there. It's like, yeah, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. And but then I'm like he must have had buddies or something. They could have just been like, listen, dude, like I'm not joking. The flood's gonna happen. Get on the boat. Or maybe he did. And again, I'm gonna look into this more. If you know the answer, write us. So Tom, what are you doing your project on?
So it's kind of funny you ask that because I did my project on John 11:35. when
What's
I
that? What's that,
so
Tom?
when I first said I was doing John 11:35, I said it pretty much as a joke, but the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, you know what? Like I can actually get some substance out of this. For those of you that need a refresh, John 11:35 is just two words.
Don't forget it.
It's Jesus wept. That's all it is.
Yes, he did.
And I'm pretty sure no matter what translation you're reading, it's just Jesus wept. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But specifically, I did my project on the NIV translation of Jesus wept.
Oh yeah, the 2 word version.
So when I first started writing it, a bunch of it just came to me, and I'm like, here we go. But yeah, Jesus wept. It appears in the New Testament. Obviously, it's in the Gospel of John, and it's part of a story that revolves around Lazarus, which was a dear friend of Jesus. And Lazarus has fallen ill, and Lazarus has died. And Jesus, at this moment in time, he's well known for his miraculous miracles, and he gets word that his friend died. And then he comes to see Lazarus where he's laying in the tomb. And by the time he gets there, Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. And everyone around him is grieving. I mean, Lazarus's sisters are there, Mary and Martha, and a bunch of other onlookers. And Jesus, standing there with everybody, he weeps. He literally just starts crying. And when you take those 2 words, Jesus wept, it's literally just a moment frozen in time. It's Jesus standing there in the crowd, and he's just crying. And it's a real raw and authentic expression of his emotions. And he, at that moment in time, he's really essentially displaying his shared humanity with us. He's saying, hey, I'm caught up in this moment. Everyone around me is sad. I'm sad too. And it's almost like he's saying in that moment, I understand your pain. I understand your grief. And I understand your suffering because I too feel the weight of these emotions. And Jesus wept. It's not overly formal, but it does remain deeply significant because there are going to be times in our lives where we are going to encounter moments of sadness, despair, and grief. And in those times, reading Jesus wept offers us comfort. It's telling us, when we're down or someone close to us is enduring hardship, it's entirely acceptable to acknowledge those emotions, shed a tear, and feel them. And not only that, but be a shoulder to cry on for somebody. And when you're reading Jesus wept, don't complicate it because it's literally 2 words. And it's just a moment of genuine compassion that Jesus had for everyone around him. And when you get into the interpretation aspect of it, the thing is that once it dawned on me that Jesus wasn't weeping that Lazarus was dead, he was weeping because everyone else around him was sad. And the reason why I say that is it's John 11:25. He tells Martha, your brother is going to rise again. So he knew he's going to raise this guy from the dead. He knew he was going to do it when he shows up. But yet he sits there and he cries with everybody. He's weeping because he's feeling everybody's pain. And it's the human aspect of Jesus that even the Son of God was not shielded from the depth of human emotions. He's experiencing, and he experienced, the same grief and sadness that we do. And also knowing that he's empathizing with everybody, it draws us closer to him, which makes him more relatable and accessible. And it really hammered home for me as I was interpreting this that we don't, like, our faith isn't in a distant and unfeeling deity, but it's actually God understands our struggles. and he understands our pain because he felt them too.
Yeah. First off, congratulations on getting all of that out of 2 words.
Oh, that
Uh,
was only my observation and interpretation. I didn't even touch on application.
yeah, I know. One of the things when I did my Faith 180 was I wanted to know who Jesus was as like in a human way. Um, so that's what I kind of dove into, and that was big in part to the ruthless elimination of hurry that we read. It just he just kept emphasizing, that Jesus was human. He walked the earth. There's accounts of it, evidence of it. I'm a big guy. I'm a big evidence guy.
I
So
think the one thing that I really took from this is that even the Son of God needed to have a good cry moment. And that's basically what this is. It's his good cry moment. It's his, sitting on the couch in his sweatpants eating ice cream and crying moment. Like that's the way to describe it. Like, he he felt everything we felt, and that's wild.
yeah, I forget what we were talking about last night. I was at a campfire and we were talking about like if something like if Jesus had done something like as a modern day human, um, it had to do with like technology. Like he couldn't set up a Facebook event for, um, to warn
For
people
raising
about things.
Lazarus.
Yeah, yeah. But imagine if he could, how wild
So
that would have been.
I have a story, and if this individual is listening, I'm going to apologize now. But in my early 20s, I remember there was a night that I was at the Red Knight, which is a local bar, and there was a
Oh,
person
Tom,
there.
you sinner.
I know. And there was a person there who I'm 99% sure he was under the influence of drugs and or alcohol, and he was going around telling people that he was the modern day reincarnation of Jesus. And we laughed at this guy. We're like, "Come on. Yeah, you're really high, you're really whatever." But then I'm like, "You know what? I'm not saying this guy was the modern reincarnation of Jesus. What I'm saying is if Jesus was reincarnated in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, where he would be that night would be at the Red Knight."
That's hilarious that you say that. I had this conversation with somebody today. Oh man, who did? Oh, I was getting coffee with a friend, and we were having this conversation because the last time I was actually at the Red Night was 5 or 6 years ago. Um, Post Data, the Winter Sleep
Oh
follow
yeah.
up band, Paul Murphy, and that was the first and only time and last time. That I was in there, but we were having this conversation. It was like if he did come back, that's where he would be. He would go
That's
there
where he would be.
because I was saying like, is there a church that he would stop at, or somebody said that, and I was like, no, I think the first place he'd go is the Red Knight.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just really, like,
I mean,
at the time,
nothing against the Red Knight.
I just thought, oh man, this guy is like extremely like he's out of it. But then, like I said, the more I thought about it, I'm like, no, this is where Jesus would be.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Well, I think that takes us into the final segment of this off week episode. That was very interesting. We will come back to that in a following episode. I think we need to talk about our interpretations. I certainly have some interesting thoughts about the Nephilim and, why Noah was such a special person, why him and his buddies didn't get on the boat. Again, if you want to write us, email us, give us the answer to that. That would be
So
appreciated. I might have
I
it in
am
the meantime. So
I am very excited for Bible Mad Libs. What you got for me, Jordan?
yeah, so let's just go through the words real quick here, and then we'll wrap up this week's episode of the podcast. So let me just pull it up, Tom. All right. So here's what I need from you, my man. Uh, a plural noun.
Um, Dogs.
An occupation.
Banker.
All right. Something alive, plural.
People.
Okay. Sure. Form of transportation.
Segway.
Oh wow. Okay, adjective.
Skipping.
All right, this is shaping up to be a really good one. Action verb, something you can do.
Throw.
Throw. And a noun. Two nouns actually.
Two nouns. Person, place, or thing.
Correct.
Uh, Bottle
Okay.
and garbage can.
Garbage can. Plural noun.
Bags.
Um, a plural occupation.
Cooks.
Wow. This is not. This is certainly not going to be like it was written in the Bible. Something large.
The Eiffel Tower.
An emotion.
Happy.
I should have known you were going to do that.
I'm a happy fella.
A noun, plural.
Oh, hate nouns. Plants.
Something that starts with W.
Weasels.
Weasels. Action verb.
Action verb.
I got it. Karate chop.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Can we do roundhouse kick instead?
Sure. I hope karate chop inspired that.
It did.
Okay. A number.
39.
Okay. A body part. Keep it clean.
Kneecap.
Oh. Verb. Something you can do to someone.
Flick their nose.
All right. Noun.
Container.
Two more. Adjective.
Cartwheeling.
And like a number like with like a TH at the end or a ND or an ST.
731st.
All right. I've got all the words. I'm going to try to make it through reading this back. Well, folks, I don't know if this is what you asked for, but this is certainly what you're going to get. Tom, any guesses as to what biblical story I'm about to tell with these words that you gave me?
Jesus feeds everyone with a loaf of bread. I don't know.
I wish. For the segue of our fans, I wish. But we're doing Jonah and the whale. Yeah. This is going to be funny.
Oh, let's go.
All right. A long time ago, there was a banker named Jonah. His job was to bring God's dogs to the people. One day, God told Jonah to go to the people of Nineveh. Oh, wow. You get a point for that.
I got that one right.
One day, God told Jonah to go to the people of Nineveh and tell them to stop being bad and start skipping.
And start skipping.
Yeah, start skipping. Jonah didn't want to go, so he headed in the opposite direction, got on a Segway, and tried to throw away from God. Oh man! After a while, after After a while, a huge bottle came up. The garbage can was blowing, and the bags were crashing. And the cooks were very afraid. Oh, wow. Jonah knew that it was his fault, and he asked them to throw him into the Eiffel Tower. Oh, wow. Let me find where I was. Yeah, throw him into the Eiffel Tower. They didn't want to, but things kept getting worse. So finally they agreed. Immediately, everything stopped and was calm. The people were happy. Wow, that's two, Tom.
Two. There we go.
Oh, wow, you're like 2 for 12. Okay. The people were happy and gave plants to God for saving them. Oh, man. Whose idea was this?
Yours.
All right. Meanwhile, Jonah was sinking down. Meanwhile, Jonah was sinking down into the weasel, about to roundhouse kick. But God sent a wow. I need something alive.
Something alive. Let's go with skunks or a skunk.
Okay, but God sent a big skunk, which swallowed Jonah. Jonah spent 39 days in its kneecap, praying and thanking God for saving him. After a while, the creature flicked his nose and Jonah onto a dry container. And oh, here we go. The Ninevites listened to Jonah and started being cartwheeling. God had given them a 731st chance, just as he had with Jonah. Well, Tom, I think you did a phenomenal job there.
I got two, and that's all we can ask for.
You can do the next one. I'll be victim to the embarrassment.
Sounds good to me.
That was actually pretty funny.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I didn't know if a biblical Mad Lib would work, but when there's a little bit of mystery behind it, and
makes it even better.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll act it out so people.
Oh, that'll be good.
We could put a video online acting it out.
And with that, everybody, thank you for joining us for this episode of Faith 180.
Yes, we appreciate you listening in, and don't be afraid to give this a share. Follow us, like, subscribe. We really appreciate the support, and thank you.
And with that, don't forget to interact with whoever you're listening to this. Leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and leave us a comment. Jordan, take us out.
A faith 180. You take your faith and you turn it around. A faith 180. Yeah.
Faith 180 is an independent podcast featuring, produced, and edited by Thomas Hazelton and Jordan Hamilton. Got a question, suggestion, or a story of your own Faith 180? Email faith180crew@gmail.com. Faith 180 is available everywhere you get your podcasts. Don't forget to leave a review and turn on notifications for when a new episode goes live. Thank you for listening, and remember, you are worthy of God's grace.